Students, good afternoon. We're going to talk about the digestive system. This is a part one video, and I'll be uploading part one and part two. Again, the digestive system, of course, extremely important, as with all systems in our body. Again, our body is made up of 11 different organ systems. Of course, the digestive system is one of them. In terms of terminology, of course, and you may have heard, this before. Sometimes we might use the term digestive tract or the gastrointestinal tract. A lot of times we use an abbreviation of the GI tract. So the GI tract is in the abbreviation of the gastrointestinal tract. So the digestive tract and gastrointestinal tract, they are synonymous. They're synonymous. And they're just simply I guess, another term that you can use for the digestive system. Now, interestingly, the digestive process, you might think, okay, well, how long does it take for the food to go through the whole system? So just think of the digestive system as really like one long tube going from the mouth all the way through the anus. And just one long tube. It gets like large in some places, small in some places, turns and curves and whatnot there, right? But it's really just one long tube there, right? The process will differ from men to women. Okay, and sometimes the digestive process may slightly differ from maybe the kind of foods that you eat and so on and so forth. But it might range like somewhere from like 6 to 8 hours. And that was according to what an article written by the Mayo Clinic. So that's part of the digestive system. All right, so some of the learning objectives here. We're just going to learn about the process in the sequential order of digestion. All right, so about the process in the order. Okay, so of course, starting from the mouth all the way through the anus. The organs involved, all right, through the digestive process. And of course, please refer to the vocabulary homework for the terms and the definitions. So I'll talk about some of the terms and definitions there, but just have your vocabulary list handy, for you to refer to it. Okay, let's talk about what's known as the pharynx. All right. So the pharynx is a part of the throat behind the mouth and nasal cavity. All right. And let's change colors here. And it's above the esophagus and the larynx. Okay, so here we have, the esophagus that takes food down to the stomach, the larynx. So essentially, this area, all right, right here, I don't know if it highlights it well or not, but that is the larynx. Okay, so you have three sections of the larynx: the nasal larynx, or the nasal pharynx, the oropharynx, and the laryngopharynx. All right. So here, of course, the nasal cavity and the oral cavity actually are connected. I don't know. I mean, it might sound kind of weird, but remember, maybe if you were in elementary school, and then one kid who drank some milk or some pop, and as soon as he took a swallow, he laughed, and then maybe you may have seen something like come out of his nose there, right? Well, that's because it's all connected. That's why you may have heard of ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, because the ears, nose, and the throat, they're actually kind of, in a sense, connected. They all play a role with one another. Okay, so however, the larynx is just basically just behind the throat, and it's just, again, like I said, three sections of it there. So make sure you know those three. All right, here's another slide on that. So you got the nasal pharynx. All right, so where's the nasal pharynx? It's just simply the upper part of the pharynx connecting the nasal cavity. This is the nasal cavity with an above the soft tissue palate there, right? So basically, again, the soft tissue palate, so just navel cavity going on down, all right? And then you have the oropharynx. That's just the middle compartment, the middle part, all right? Often what we call kind of the throat area, all right? And the laryngopharynx, that's where the food passes and the air passes there. So like right here, okay, is pretty much where the food's going to go down eventually to the esophagus. And here, the air is going to pass, getting air into the trachea to go to the respiratory system. All right, so here we have really essentially, of course, just a big overview of the digestive system. So first of all, let's talk about the mouth. All right. All right, so that space when you're chewing your food, that's where the mechanical and chemical breakdown of food is actually occurs. So, the process of chewing, you're just breaking down this food into smaller pieces so that it can be digested faster. The saliva and digestive enzymes that's in the mouth, that all plays a role in the digestive process here, right? And then you have the esophagus, so the food goes from the mouth down through the esophagus. The esophagus is going to take the food down into the stomach, all right? Now, some of these so before I get into the stomach, some of these other organs that plays a role, of course, is the liver. The liver is like the detoxifying organ. All right, you may have heard like the liver in terms of problems related to alcoholics and so on and so forth, but it filters blood. Okay, so the liver actually does play a role in the digestive system on some level or another, right? So it helps filters blood, all right, and detoxifies chemicals and drugs, right? So it helps filters blood, and also the liver actually produces a yellowish digestive enzyme type of fluid called bile. So that's produced by the liver, so it's going to be produced by the liver, but it's going to be stored. It's going to be stored in this area, okay? It's called the gallbladder. So the gallbladder actually stores the bile, and the bile, again, is just an enzyme that helps in the digestive process, okay? So going back to this piece here, all right? So basically, food is going to get into the stomach, and some of this stuff I'm going to repeat. Going to get into the stomach, some more mechanical and chemical processes to aid in digestion. Of course, it's going to happen in the stomach. And then the food passes into the small intestine. All right, goes to the small intestines, all this kind of moving around like so. All right, and then the food's going to eventually get into the large intestines, like so, descending colon, and then through the rectum and anus, and just discharge out. Okay, also here's just another picture. This is from the Mayo Clinic. Great picture. I want to add this. There are great graphics here. So again, like I said, the stomach helps break down and digest food there, right? So it uses both a mechanical and chemical process. What I mean by mechanical, you have the muscles of the stomach kind of moving the food around and trying to break it down, and then as well as chemicals, a lot of the digestive enzymes and chemicals and low pH. Remember the pH scale from 0 to 14. We have the stomach is pretty acidic, all right? So that's going to help break food down there, right? And then of course you have the pancreas that's going to play a role in the digestive process as well. So here's the pancreas. I'm going to use this right here and there. And the pancreas is going to put some of the digestive enzymes into the small intestines. And a lot of times you may have heard of the pancreas in association with insulin, actually, which helps open up your cells to allow glucose inside the cells. Okay, so again, like I said, going to the stomach, small intestines, large intestines, and out. So I'll talk about, get more in detail with the stomach, structure of the stomach, and the small intestines and large intestines in the other part.